He was my Jack Bauer. I mean, he was my eyes and ears. I'd use all of his scouting reports and all of his information. It was a huge help for me.
All right, welcome everybody. We're going to do a 23 clip breakdown from last night's Game 2 matchup between the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers. Before we start up, if you don't mind sharing this right now on whatever platform you're watching, I want to really grow these groups as big as we can to share it with as many players and coaches as possible. In the breakdown, we talk about offensive game reads as a team, as well as individual skills and stats to go along with it to really understand why players do what they're doing so we could build the coaches and players' basketball IQ. All right, let's get started. All right, first clip, pin down when Hartenstein and Anunoby, they flip the screen, Turner switches, they attack the switch, finish at the rim. Let's take a look at it. Now, we talk about switching all the time when smaller players switch on to bigger players defensively, and then you post them up right away. We did a little bit of that yesterday in yesterday's breakdown. Now, when you flip it and you're a wing player, anytime there's a big that switches on you, you have to think attack. So on the pin down here, Indiana's going to switch it on the screen. All right, so now you get Turner guarding Anunoby. Right away, you got to attack it. Now, let's take a look at a little bit what the ref didn't call. And when you catch it on that pin down, that inside foot is the pivot foot. Watch him pick that foot up on the drive and travel. See how he picks it up before he dribbles it? That's a travel that's not called. All right, let's just go into it, though. So, again, when he catches it, all right, he's got Turner here, who's a good defender, but he's got to think attack. Anunoby shooting 65% at the rim, which is a very good percentage as a finisher. He just lines up Turner, and now a straight line drives him. He sets him up a little bit, going middle, and then attacks, getting that driving angle and finishing at the rim. Now, on the weak side, on that drive, you got to think, okay, if that weak side comes over, that weak side defender, is the corner open? No, it's not. They got one guy guarding two. There's really no other read there. So right now, when you catch it, you see that big switch on. It's got to be a straight line drive and finish at the rim. My next clip, Brunson pick and roll. Indiana puts two on the ball. He hits Hart, who hits Hartenstein, who swings it to DiVincenzo for the three-point shot in the corner. Let's take a look at it. Anytime they put two on the ball, you got to get off of it. All right, you got to keep swinging it. And here's what Indiana, when they put two on Brunson, they do New York does a good job at stretching the defense out and then moving the ball to get an open shot. So when you put two on the ball, you got to force a long rotation. So now they got two on the ball here. Brunson is going to hit Hart in the corner. All right, now they're rotating out of it. Now here on the backside is where the little miscommunication. On the backside, on the swing, one of these two can guard Hartenstein, and then the other could back up and then guard the next pass. It's still a long rotation, and they were in a long rotation all night. So here, you got to get rid of the ball. On the Hart, now Hart, instead of holding it and trying to isolate, just swings right away to Hartenstein, forcing Indiana on the backside to react to that. Once Hartenstein catches it, he doesn't hold it. He hits DiVincenzo for the three-point shot in the left corner. All right, next clip. Jalen Brunson, transition three from the right wing. Let's take a look at it. Now, Brunson's leading the whole league as far as field goals attempted, pull-ups off the dribble. He's averaging 10.1 a game as far as the amount of shots that he shoots off the dribble. He's shooting 40.1 from three, and that right wing is his most popular shot to shoot the three from. Shooting 40.1 from that spot, which is ironic. But again, I think 5 years ago, there's a shot that guards didn't shoot as much of. It was one of the worst shots in basketball. Now it's one of the most highly productive shots in basketball. You got to be able to develop it if you're working with a 1, a 2, or a 3. But Brunson here, he gets Halliburton on his heels. Halliburton still contests the shot, but Brunson owns New York right now. So, as he backs up, he just gets that shot off, no problem. All right, next clip. T.J. McConnell rejects the pick and roll, finishes off the glass on the right side. All right, let's take a look at it. McConnell's one of the best backup point guards in the NBA. Reason for that, he attacks you and he keeps attacking. He lives in the paint. He's not a great shooter, but he's a very good mid-range shooter, paint pull-up guy, and he can get to the rim. He finishes at 63%. If you're a guard or any type of position, you have to finish at the rim at least 60%. The average is about 62, 63. High-end finishers like Luka and Kyrie finish at about 70% at the rim. Here they set the mid-pick and roll. Hart's going to push up on it. So McConnell, instead of going to his right, rejects it, goes to the left. All right, Halliburton's going to set the back screen on Precious. All right, so now DiVincenzo's going to have to switch that. As McConnell starts his drive, DiVincenzo cuts him off. All right, and now he goes from left to right, keeps that ball high, and then watch the high finish off the glass. Remember I said 63% in the paint at the rim is a very good, efficient finisher. But just making game reads. All right, Hart pushes up, so he rejects. All right, DiVincenzo's going to switch. He's going to cut off his left, so he goes to the right, that high pickup, and high off the glass. All right, you have to practice finishing above that square to get nice touch and good touch on the backboard. But great drive by McConnell, getting to the rim, and be able to finish. All right, next clip. Halliburton in transition, finds Naismith in that right corner for the three-point shot. Let's take a look at it. Now, it depends on what your school of thought is. Do you run your wings to the basket, or you run them to the corners? In the new age NBA, they're going in the corners to give more space. All right, here on Halliburton's drive in transition, they're going to pack the ball and stop the ball. Naismith's going to sprint to the corner in transition, watch his run, doesn't go to the basket. Now he spreads the floor, goes in that corner. Halliburton's going to draw the defense and then make that kick. Again, when you see that multiple defender, that second help defender come over, you got to be able to make a play for somebody else. Naismith shooting 42% from the three and 44% from that spot. So it's a great find from Halliburton just to be able to draw that second defender, kick to the corner for the open three. Next clip, TJ McConnell changes speed, changes direction, getting in the paint, pulling up at the dots. Let's take a look. Talked about how good TJ McConnell is living in the paint. I think if you're a guard at any level, you have to be able to get in that paint consistently and finish with either a finish at the rim, floater, or paint pull-up. All right, TJ McConnell's a very good, efficient player getting in the paint, all right, and pulling up from close. He's shooting 48%. All right. Now, on these drives, you have to be able to play with two speeds. He changes speeds from slow to fast on a change of direction. All right, now what you have to worry about once you make your move is the off-ball defender trying to swipe. Hartenstein right now, Hartenstein tries to swipe it. McConnell does a great job of pulling that ball in front. All right, so he can't get the ball stripped. Now, backside of the defense. All eyes are on McConnell. Nobody's on the backside. No one's really worried about these guys because they want to protect the rim. On this drive, all right, you got OG right here. You can't really make the play to the right wing, but Siakam's wide open in the right corner as well. So that's your next read. Be able to push that ball in front, be able to pull up and score at a high clip, but also make that next play, to the player that's in the right corner. McConnell shooting 53% from this spot, 48 pulling up off the dribble inside of 17 feet. A very efficient guard, but again, living in the paint, changing speed, changing direction, and be able to convert. All right, next clip, dribble handoff with Hartenstein and Nunneby. And Nunneby gives it back to Hartenstein for the finish. Let's take a look at it. These handoffs are really tough to defend because now the defense has to say, all right, do we put two on the ball, or do we try to switch, or do we help and get back? All right, coming off, the guy receiving the handoff is going to try to either, depending on how he gets played, all right, most likely he's going to try to attack. On the handoff, Nunneby drives it, drives to his right. Indiana puts two on the ball, and they shrink from the backside. All right, so now they're going to put multiple defenders on the ball. This is where basketball IQ comes into it. Because if you see multiple defenders on the ball, somebody's going to be open. Either the handoff guy is going to roll or space, or the weak side guy is going to be open if they're going to shrink the floor like they do here. So when Nunneby's got options here, as he comes off, it's really not going to be a scoring option. He's got a guy on his hip, he's got the help from the handoff guy, and he's got the weak side defender shrinking the floor. So his reads are, does he dribble and just kick to Hart for the shot, or swing, or do he put two on the ball and make a play for the handoff guy? Now, this is where you have to make good game reads. All right, this is the difference between being a good player and a really good player. All right, and most really good players, when they put multiple defenders on the ball, they can make a play for somebody else. Here, Nunneby draws the defense, hits Hartenstein, who's cutting to the basket, and then finishes at the rim. Next clip, TJ McConnell on the pick and roll spots Ben Shepherd cutting to the basket. Let's take a look at it. I feel as though at all levels that this weak side cut from the weak side corner doesn't get enough action. Most likely, this off-ball defender is not going to be paid attention. 9 times out of 10, I feel as though they lose this man, more times you can count. And in these games, especially high-level games, you got to be able to score as many points as you can without either isolating or having a play set, just being able to cut, transition baskets, as many baskets where you don't have to work as hard to get them. And I think these weak side cuts, you can have a lot of action off of it. As McConnell comes off the pick and roll and Anunoby isn't paying attention, you got all this space in the baseline. Ben Shepherd on this cut, on this drive, he's just going to take one step, and Anunoby's going to move up, and he just backdoors. All right, McConnell makes the drive, makes the cut, and again, 2 points that they didn't really have to work hard for. As many baskets as you can get off cuts, transition, and things like this is going to put a lot less pressure on your half-court offense. Next clip, DiVincenzo coming off the pick and roll, hits McBride on the weak side. McBride drives it, hits Hartenstein for that little floater at the dots. Let's take a look at it. Hartenstein is probably the best big man floater shooter in the game. You've been seeing it in the playoffs and late in the season. The guy has just developed that into one of the best floater shooters in the league. He's shooting 62% from that floater, which is an unheard of percentage. All right, now let's take a look at the clip itself. On the rolls, and you don't get it initially as that screen setter rolling to the basket, you want to roll, but then either go to the dunker or be a cutter if there's going to be another cut, another drive to the basket. Right now, Hartenstein rolls hard. DiVincenzo's going to skip to the weak side. Now watch Hartenstein. Now if this is going to be a drive middle, he's going to come probably this side. All right, but if it's a drive away from you to the baseline, you want to flood this middle area. As Indiana's going to put multiple defenders on the ball, Hartenstein's going to cut to this open area, catches, doesn't waste any time. Watch that floater as it gets up. You don't want to shoot a flat floater. You want to shoot that floater with some air under the ball. So, as he comes out of that dunker spot, he cuts to the middle, wastes no time, high arcing floater, convert. All right, next clip. DiVincenzo catches the ball, all right, hits the top, and then 3-point shot off the handoff. Let's take a look at it. DiVincenzo, big-time shot maker, but very efficient shot maker, shooting 44% from the field, 40% from the three. When you're in trouble like this, not in trouble, but when you really don't have any options to drive it, you want to be able to pitch the ball and then follow your pass a lot of the time. All right, here he pitches to Hartenstein, and now he's going to come off on a handoff. All right, you got a couple options here. On the handoff, you could either try to drive it, all right, but if Hartenstein does a good job, which he does, forcing that wide angle, that defender to take a wide angle on the cover, now DiVincenzo's got the 3-point option. As he comes off, all right, they take wide angle, and now he wastes no time shooting the ball. You got to be able to not only be a good shooter on the catch and shoot, but definitely on the move. These handoff threes are getting more and more popular, and you got to be able to do them at a high clip. Here he pitches it, wastes no time, catch and shoot from the top. Next clip, DiVincenzo comes tight off this pin down. He's going to spot Precious Achiuwa, cut into the basket for the finish. Let's take a look at it. Now, when you're coming off tight off this pin, okay, you got to be able to make plays. Not only catch and shoot, but being able to drive it to the rim and then make plays for other people if they're going to crowd it. So he's coming off. They're going to trail this. All right. As he trails and he comes tight, the pass is made. Now, you got to be able to read it. Do I have a shot? Can I drive it? Do I have a play for somebody else? So all the momentum's going towards the basket. So the weak side defense you got to now look at. It comes into play. Siakam's going to come up and help, which is going to leave Achiuwa. We talked about a couple of clips back where this weak side corner guy could be a big threat to cut. Right? As he leaves his man, he's coming off to drive. Siakam's going to leave Achiuwa. Achiuwa sees that and he cuts right away. Halliburton sees that on the weak side. He's got a decision to make. He's got to be able to crack down on the cutter. That's going to be a dunk at the rim, which it already is. But if this is going to be a space and he makes the pass here, he's going to have to take the next pass, which opens up Hart. But now, as he's cracking down, DiVincenzo could say, okay, I could either try to finish, I could hit Achiuwa, or I could do the Luka where I look at Achiuwa and pass to Hart. Right now he drives it, Achiuwa cuts, and he makes a play for his teammate, finish at the rim. All right, next clip. Brunson's coming off the pick and roll, spots DiVincenzo in that corner. 3-point shot left corner. We talked about how good of a really good shooter DiVincenzo is. tough shot maker. This is just an easy play. All right, coming off that pick and roll, Brunson's going to come off. You know the weak side is going to try to shrink the floor. All right, eyes are going to be on the ball and, try to pull in just to stop any rolls from happening. If Hartenstein catches it on a short roll, they're going to rotate up. But what happens is Brunson goes to his left. They try to shrink. All right, they crowd it. And now instead of taking a tough contested shot, he spots his teammate for an open three in the corner. Next clip, Hartenstein catches in the high post. Going to dribble handoff with DiVincenzo. And then backdoor by DiVincenzo for the finish at the rim. We talked about it. Instead of trying to really have to work hard to get isolation points and run plays to people, as many cuts as you can get, it's an efficient way to score. DiVincenzo's shooting 64% on cuts to the basket. He gets fouled about 10% of the time. So it's a really good, especially when you go in towards the rim, it's a very good option. Just reading the defense. On this handoff, DiVincenzo is going to come towards Hartenstein. Now the defender's going to overplay it. So instead of going towards it on the overplay, he knows that it's overplaying. So when defense takes something away, you got to go to something else. So they overplay it. He goes backdoor. Great bounce pass by Hartenstein. And this the paint area is cleared out. Hart's starting to back up, takes Halliburton with him on that back door. No one's really there. Finish at the rim. Next clip, Josh Hart in transition, cut by DiVincenzo, right at the rim. We talked about the effectiveness of cutting and how you could, try to really create as many points as possible that are easy instead of having to grind out possessions. Here, Josh Hart's going to drive on transition. Everybody's worried about the ball. Like I told you, that weak side corner, there's a lot of action there that you could really emphasize your players to be able to cut. Halliburton's got his eyes on the ball. All right, takes his eyes off of a DiVincenzo. He cuts, all right, because of the fact that he took his eyes off of him, he doesn't know where he's at. He thinks he's going to be up. He cuts backdoor. Josh Hart with a pass. Again, shooting 64% during cuts. Catches it, finish at the rim. All right, next clip. You got Nembhard and Obi Toppin in pick and roll. Toppin's going to pop, fake, and then shoot that floater going baseline. Let's take a look at it. Toppin's a much improved three-point shooter. All right, from this year, 40% from three. They did a great job with developing a shot there this season. As Nembhard comes off that pick and roll, all right, they're going to try to put multiple players in the ball. Again, making a play for your teammate. Toppin's going to space. Nembhard's going to draw the defense, make that great read to Toppin. Now, Anunoby coming off that help defense. This is why I'm a big fan of stopping short, all right, and then contesting the shot. A couple of things happen. If you go too much into the offensive player, we've seen too many players getting fouled on three-point shots as is. Also, when you're trying to go like really hard at the offensive player, you open this up where you leave your feet and he drives it. Now everyone else is they gotta help up. I think with Toppin's development, I think developing that mid-range pull-up or floater, if they run him off the line and he decides to drive, is going to be an important step in his game. So as they draw two, they kick to Toppin. Toppin does a great job using a fake. All right. Now watch how he keeps that left foot down. A lot of young players like to split their feet and travel. On the catch, all right, they're going to go long rotation. He's going to use the fake. Anunoby's going to leave his feet. He's going to drive it. That weak side defense. All right. Turner does a good job sort of keeping Hartenstein at bay here, and so he can't get to the drive. Toppin's going to drive it and shoot that floater right off the glass. Great play. All right, next clip, Indiana shows zone. They're going to have two on the ball. Brunson's going to hit Hart, straight line drive, finish. Let's take a look at it. All right, not a long rotation for Indiana here. They're just sort of, they're probably going to try to take the ball out of Brunson's hands at some point. Brunson sees that, McConnell's going to, come over a little bit and hedge. Hart's going to go behind the defense. As he, instead of trying to make a tough play and try to split, he just hits Hart behind the defense and has him straight line drive. Now Toppin sort of, trying to guard corner, but also trying to guard the ball here. So on the straight line drive, Hart shooting 60% at the rim, does a great job not wasting any time. These straight line drives, you got to have them fast. Right on the catch, you got to catch and go. He catches, drives it, finishes right at the rim. Great drive. All right, next clip. Talked about McConnell being able to get in that paint. All right, left to right. Pull up in the paint there. Got to live in the paint. We've seen countless possessions of him doing this. We're not really going to go into a lot of teaching points on it. But on the pick and roll, just attacks. He's got Precious in the back here. He gets his defender in his back and he just goes left to right. Again, that paint pull-up, 53% shooting, 49 coming off the dribble, just very effective. If they're gonna way over rotate, he's got that corner three-point shot, but pulls up in the paint and converts. All right, next clip. We got Brunson, Josh Hart pick and roll. All right, Brunson's gonna spot Hart behind the defense for a three-point shot. Let's take a look at it. Really good read from Brunson. Josh Hart, not a great three-point shooter at 31%, but still, just a good read here. All right, they're gonna switch. McConnell's gonna help with the nail. Brunson sees that. All right, he's just going to spot Hart behind the defense, three-point shot. When you're a really good player and you're facing double teams or overhelps, all right, this is not really overhelp, but all eyes are going to be focused on Brunson. You got to be able to make plays, easy plays for other people. He can't really overdo it where, he's going to just ISO every time. He's got to set the table and give his teammates other opportunities to score besides just him all the time. It just takes the pressure off of him. He sees that. He sees McConnell and help right here and just spots Hart for the three-point shot. All right, next clip. All right, Siakam back down. All right, it's going to hit Turner, who's going to drive and kick to Nembhard in that left corner. Let's take a look at it. I feel as though with bigs, especially if bigs are going to space like Turner, not only be able to catch and shoot and be effective from there, but be able to drive, catch it, drive it, and make plays for other people and be a decoy in this. All right, so the Knicks are going to try to get the ball out of Siakam's hands. I would too. Siakam's playing great in the series. All right, Hartenstein's going to come over. All right, gets the ball out of his hands. Turner's going to catch. Now, Turner's a very effective three-point shooter from here. All right, but there's a gap in the defense here. Hartenstein's going to rotate out. Instead of just shooting the contested three, he drives it. See how he has his pivot foot down? All right, that's a huge thing when you're trying to teach. Driving, when any position, being able to drive without traveling. Turner does a great job in the fake, gets Hartenstein to overplay it. He drives it. Again, all eyes are going to be on Turner. Eyes, Nembhard's man on Turner. All right, as he drives it, he draws the crowd. Instead of a tough contested shot, he kicks to Nembhard. Nembhard, 35% three-point shooter, but shooting 54% from that corner. Great pass by Turner. Great offense. All right, next clip. All right, Josh Hart on the keeper. Hartenstein cuts. Finish at the rim. Let's take a look at it. Hartenstein made himself a lot of money this series, in the playoffs in general. Just being an energy guy and playing hard off the ball. This is where training our players off the ball to be more effective in cutting and spacing and being into the vision of the person with the ball is really important. Josh Hart comes off. I think it's going to be a handoff with Brunson. He keeps it and drives it. All eyes now are going to be on Hart because he's going to the basket. As Hart goes to the basket, all eyes, watch the eyes, watch the eyes, watch the eyes. That's really important. As he drives, Hartenstein knows this. All right, Turner's going to leave to just try to help in the paint. He sees this. He cuts behind it. Josh Hart deaccelerates on the drive. Hartenstein cuts. Multiple guys on the ball. Leaves his feet. I don't mind leaving your feet, all right, to make a pass. Just don't leave your feet to find a pass. That usually doesn't work well. On the drive, multiple defenders on the ball. Hartenstein cuts behind it, makes the play, finish at the rim. Great offense. All right, next clip. Indiana's going to put two on the ball. Brunson's going to hit Hartenstein, who's going to hit DiVincenzo in the right corner. All right, let's take a look. Indiana's been very aggressive trying to get the ball out of Brunson's hands as they should the whole series, right, in the first two games. The problem with that is when you try to get it at half court with two on the ball, if New York moves the ball well, which they do, you can have a lot of 4-on-3 situations where you're going to be shorthanded for small periods of time in possessions, as well as force yourself to have to rotate long because of the fact that you're shorthanded here. All right, Hartenstein catches the ball, makes a little bit of a dribble. All right, now Indiana's sort of spaced out. All right, because they're trying to stop the ball. The only thing is Hartenstein's not really a big-time threat here. At very least, I think Halliburton maybe should rotate down, but if he does, now Josh Hart's got it. So you're in a little bit of a pickle here. As Hartenstein drives it on that one dribble, all right, that defense is so spread out that the corners are filled. He just makes the easy read. We talked about DiVincenzo's shot making. Next clip, Halliburton mid-pick and roll. He's going to step back going left, shooting that three-point shot from the left wing. Let's take a look at it. talked about the importance of guards being able to shoot the three off the dribble in transition or pick and rolls. It's a shot that comes up. Halliburton's a pretty consistent three-point shooter, 36%, 36.4, which is about average. And, shoots about 36 off the dribble and 35 from that left wing spot. So he's got to be able to, make plays, especially from deep when he needs a basket, down 3.5 minutes left. All right, they set that mid pick and roll a little deep out. All right, so I think that Siakam does a great job screening DiVincenzo here, taking his man out. I think great screen setting is something that we have to really, keep pushing if we're working with players individually or collectively as a team. All right, Precious is sort of in a drop behind Siakam. All right, as Halliburton comes off, he just sets that sort of step back from three. Again, very consistent. 36 from the three on the season, 35 off the dribble, 36 off the dribble, and then about 35.4 from that spot. So, great job setting his man up and be able to create space for that three-point shot when they need it. Next clip, Brunson, Josh Hart pick and roll. He's going to spot Josh Hart, who's going to drive it and kick DiVincenzo on the right side from three-point shot. Let's take a look at it. Last clip, just bear with me here. All right, so again, Indiana's going to put two in the ball. We talked about it on that, sort of just be able to move the ball quickly out of those rotations. So Brunson, Hart, pick and roll. They're going to put two in the ball. He hits Josh Hart. Halliburton gets back into play. All right, Josh Hart's going to drive it, spin. All right, they're going to space on the weak side because they're going to be pulled over. All right, DiVincenzo does a good job here, all right, getting into Josh Hart's vision instead of staying here behind the defense. He pulls up. All right, great line of sight on the vision. Josh Hart, again, instead of making a tough play, he makes the pass to his teammate. Three-point shot. We talked numerous times about DiVincenzo's shot making.